Welcome everybody for those joining us now. We're just going to leave it a couple of minutes just so that other guests can arrive before getting going. Okay, just another minute or two and then we will get started. Okie dokie. So thank you for those joining us today for our session. My name is Ian. I work for Northumbria University, Newcastle, and I'm joined by some esteemed guests from some of our UK universities here today. We asked them to briefly introduce themselves first. We're going to have an opportunity to hear from each of them later on as well. But I guess as a starting point, I'll ask them to introduce themselves now. So I'll pass over to Matthew to say hello.
Hi, thanks very much, Ian. Good to be here. So I'm Matthew from Liverpool, John Moores University, and it's great to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. And over to Emma.
Hello, I'm Emma from the University of Portsmouth, down on the south coast of the UK.
Thank you very much, Emma. And Diane.
Hi, I'm Diane from the University of Kent in the southeast corner of the UK.
Thank you very much, Diane. And just to make you aware, we do have a couple of other colleagues as well that aren't currently with us. They may join later, or colleagues of theirs may join later. We would normally have Jill from Uclan and Hamza from Nottingham, Trent as well. So we may hear from them a bit later on. Today's session is on how to apply to a UK university. So for those of you that did attend our previous session, you may have seen that the previous session was how to choose your UK university. And this session is really going to focus on how you actually go through with the application process. So in terms of what we're looking at today and the contents, we're going to touch upon where you go about applying. So you may have heard of UCAS before, applying directly, how that works, or applying through an agency. We're going to look at what happens at offer stage, English language requirements, the deposit and the visa process, and also a bit about what happens right up to the point of arrival. So as I mentioned, the previous session was how to choose your program. So what we're assuming at this point is that you've had a really good look at the university's websites and you've got in mind the program or programs that you might be interested in applying for. You may have whittled it down to a certain number of programs or within one area, or a certain number of programs within different areas. Regardless, you probably have an idea at this point what programs you are going to apply for. So what you need to do now is to know how to actually do that. If you want to look at that previous session, please do follow that link on this page, and that will take you to our recorded sessions. You can view the previously recorded session alongside other sessions that we've recorded as well. There's lots of content on there. It's all free and it's all readily available for you to watch at your leisure. Okay, so the first point, that place that you can apply to a UK university is on a website called UCAS. Some of you may have heard of UCAS before. It is common in the UK and it's probably used by most UK university students in their applications to universities. UCAS is an independent charity, and what they do is they provide you with advice and guidance and a service really on applying to a UK university. As I mentioned, it's a huge provider in terms of applying for universities. Just under 3 million in total applications from across the world are sent to universities via UCAS. It's all handled online, and you can apply for up to 5 UK institutions in one go. Or if you are willing to pay a little bit extra, you can add an additional university on there. It's an application that you don't need to complete all in one go. It includes all of your personal details, some questions around your qualifications, and importantly as well, a personal statement and somewhere to pop your references down as well. The benefit of this process is, of course, that you can apply using a single personal statement. You can go through one single application rather than having to apply to multiple institutions and go through that process multiple times. The current deadline for this upcoming UCAS program is going to be in January, as it is in each year for the September intake, and the deadline is going to be the 26th of January 2022 for September 2022 starts. So for those of you that are thinking about applying for this method, through this method, it really is something that you really want to get on with. Please speak to your counsellors about this. Just be aware that fees do apply when applying through UCAS as well. This is a method of application that may be suitable, is most suitable really, if your qualifications that you're going to attain line up with the UK's academic cycle. So if you are taught a curriculum that is, for example, a British curriculum, A levels, for example, or an IB curriculum, this is maybe a suitable route for you, and you may want to talk to your school counsellors about this. Alternatively, you can apply to universities directly, and nearly all, I would say, UK universities will have a process of applying to those universities directly as well. We would probably say that for most universities, this is probably the preferred method for us. For you as well, you should expect a quicker response time, a more direct communication from the university. It also allows you to ask questions of the university in between your application and receiving whether you've got a place or not. Most universities will also have some form of their own sort of applicant portal or applicant process, at least, a central point where you can upload documents, you can ask questions, you can find out information about what language requirements are, for example. You can see perhaps an example journey on the left of how, on the right, sorry, of how an applicant portal journey might look. Some of the benefits: you don't have to limit yourself necessarily on the number of universities you apply for. However, most universities will want you to only apply for one or perhaps maybe 2 courses if they're feeling like they can handle those volumes, and that really is simply to manage their own volumes, and so that you're not just applying for every single course that university offers. You'll have to check with each individual institution about what their deadlines are. They will normally have these on their course pages to give you that information. The benefit to you as well by applying directly is for the majority, if not all, of UK institutions, they will not charge you a fee for applying directly. So it's a great way to save money and to work with the university directly on your application. Here's just some examples of the places on some of our websites where you would go to apply for a particular course. It's pretty self-explanatory. You look for the button that says apply and follow the steps on each of the websites. The third method that I want to touch upon is when applying through an approved agency. So usually universities will work with third-party agents to support their own recruitment activities in market. So for example, if one of us, our institutions, cannot be within your country all the time. So say I can't be in the KSA or I can't be in the UAE all of the time. We work with agents who represent us on our behalf to students that are applying from those countries. The idea is that you have a face-to-face interaction, you have support on the ground, someone that you can go and speak to, and also somebody who can help you through the application process and anything that you might not understand, and up to the point of applying for your visa and arriving at the university as well. So agents in a way support students much in a similar way to how a university might do, a university admissions team, giving you those sorts of useful hints and tips on the application and also helping you out with the personal statement. What they cannot do is they cannot give you any sort of like favored access to that university. Universities in the UK will not grant favor to an applicant because they come through an agency or because they come directly or through UCAS. That won't happen. So there's no favoritism or in that sense when applying through an agency. With agents, fees do apply in some situations. Some agencies don't apply fees. We work with agents on a commission basis. So you would want to check with that individual agency before making an application through them, whether they represent the university for the course that you're interested in. Okay. And then we think about what happens next. So you've submitted your application, you've went through that process, whether that be via UCAS, whether that be directly or via an agency. And then we think about what happens next. So it may be that the university will come to you asking you for additional information. This is quite common in the application process. So whether you have all of your information already, or whether you're awaiting results, or whether you might have accidentally missed something off your application, it's very common for the institution to come back to you and to ask you for more information. This is also perhaps an element of the next thing that I'm going to talk about, which is a conditional offer. So for example, if you are awaiting exam results from high school, the most likely scenario is that we might be able to make you a conditional offer, which means that we will be able to offer you a place on that course so long as you meet the entry requirements as stipulated in your conditional offer letter. So that might be the grades that you achieve in your final year of high school, for example. It may be if you're in a position where you've already left school, or whether you already have the grades that are required to go onto a program that a university offers, and you've impressed on the personal statement and you've met all of the entry requirements for that course, that the university is then able to make you an unconditional offer for the program. They may be able to do that straight away if they have everything that they need, or it may be that your offer becomes unconditional after you meet the conditions of your offer with a UK university. Sadly, of course, some of you will be rejected with your applications, which is sadly just a fact of life. If you don't meet the entry requirements, for example, for the course, or your personal statement isn't strong enough, of course, these things do happen, but we want to make sure that that you have all the information that you need beforehand in applying to make sure that that doesn't happen. I want to talk a bit about the English language requirements as well, because of course it will form part of the application process. So UK universities will require you to prove some sort of level of English language in order to study at higher level within the UK. Aside from it being a legal obligation, it's really also important that we ensure that you are able to succeed on your chosen course. We don't want you to arrive at our institutions and for you to struggle because your academic English language, your understanding isn't quite there. We want you to be able to succeed. So it's also important in that respect as well. It's not just for the sake of it. Universities do accept a variety of different qualifications for English language, and some of them can be seen just below there. I'd recommend that you have a look on each university website in order to ascertain what English language qualifications they will accept, and then go about making sure that you have that qualification before joining the university. as it might form part of your conditional offer as well. There will, of course, be exceptions. So UK universities might not need that additional English language requirement in certain circumstances. So, for example, if you are taught English already as part of your curriculum, and that you achieve a certain grade within your qualifications. So, for example, an English qualification at A level may be acceptable. An English qualification within the IB curriculum might be acceptable as well. CBSE might be another example. But check with each individual university, and they will be able to let you know what the appropriate qualifications are that you need. And I want to touch a bit on the visa process as well. Once you receive that unconditional offer from us, and once you have paid the deposit for the university, whatever that deposit is that the university requires, you'll then receive a CAS letter from the university, which is a confirmation of acceptance for studies. This is the letter that you require to apply for your student visa. So your university, or an agent, if you're working with an agent, will be able to provide you with some guidance on this. There's lots of useful information on university websites and also governmental websites as well that you can check out to make sure that you've got that visa sorted before booking your flights to come to the UK and join your course. Finally, I just want to talk about your arrival in the UK as well. So again, your university is going to be supporting you in arriving in the UK and everything that you need to know in that aspect. You get a biometric resident permit as well, or a BRP card. Looks something like the card on the right there, which is the final piece in the puzzle, really, for you to enroll at in person on the course and to enjoy your studies and to start your studies. What I'm going to do now, having seen that whistle-stop tour of a number of application processes within UK universities, is that I'm going to pass over to colleagues who are going to briefly introduce their institutions and talk to you for a minute or so about who they are. And then we're going to go on to questions at the end. So if you have any questions that you'd like to pop in the Q&A box, we're going to be able to pick those up at the end. And first of all, I'm going to hand over to Emma to talk about the University of Portsmouth. So, Emma.
Hello, hi. Thank you, Ian. Yes, so this is the University of Portsmouth down on the south coast of the UK. You can see that we are 70 miles from London, so that's about an hour and a half on the train, directly south, and we are a coastal seaside city. We have great links into London and Europe due to our location. But we are not a huge city, somewhere like London, for example. So the campus is based in the city centre, and you can easily access everything by walking, or there is a free bus around the city if you live a little bit further away. So it's a good location to be a student, because once you're on campus, you don't need to pay out a lot for travel. And anyone, your friends and people you know, where you're studying and everything will be all within walking distance. In terms of the university, it's a well-established university. It's been a higher education institute for hundreds of years, but it's considered a modern university. So it's in 1996 it became a university, so it's called Modern University. And we are in a strong position in terms of being a young university, in the top 150 according to the Times Higher, and we accept students from a range of backgrounds. So if you are studying a whole range of different curriculums, we'll accept that. It depends which one you are studying, but as a guide, generally around 3 A levels, 2 Bs and a C. IB would be around 30 points. And then we will also accept the American curriculum, the Thanawiyya and things like that. In terms of fees, you can see our fees are between 15,500 and 17,600. It depends on which course you're going into as to what fee that will be. And we do offer some scholarships or discounts depending on how you look at it. One of them is the 1,600 for quite a range of nationalities can receive that automatically. And then we have a more merit-based, so we look at your background, and that only 10 nationalities can apply for the merit-based scholarship. You've got my contact details there, and now I'm going to pass on to my next colleague. I think. Here we are. So it's actually Uclan. Now, University of Central Lancashire is not actually here today. She couldn't make it. But you can see here some of the information about Uclan. It's a northern university, so it's quite a long way from Portsmouth. Up in a town called Preston, not a very big town, but it's got everything you need as a student. And you can see it's 2 hours by train from London. They've actually got 4 campuses. And one of the unique features of Preston is that it was UK's first ever KFC, if that is a sales point. So again, Uclan will take a range of nationalities, different curriculums. And they're looking for like BBC from A levels to give you a guide. And also they'll accept things like the CBSC and the American curriculum and things like that. They've got a very good scholarship programs. So they've got up to £5,000 per year for scholarships for each year that you study. And now I'm going to move on again to Northumbria, and it's Ian.
Hi, I'm back. Wow, hello. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to talk a bit about my university specifically. So yes, I work for Northumbria University, Newcastle. We're based in the northeast of England, in the city of Newcastle. So if you look at a map of the UK, we're kind of in the middle to the east. We have a Premier League football team. For any of those joining us from the KSA today, welcome. Obviously, there's been a big takeover from the Saudi investment fund. So there's a really strong link there with the Middle East as well. We are one of the top student universities in the UK. So 5 out of the last 8 years, we've actually been voted as the #1 student city in the UK by What Uni, by their poll. We are a large university. We have over 30,000 students, which sounds like a lot. It's actually, if we look at the amount of students in the city of Newcastle, about 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 people that live within the city of Newcastle is in fact a student. So everything is very much geared towards the university in the city. We are a city-based university. We have over 6,000 international students, and we welcome in over 600 students from the Middle East currently as well. So there's lots of representation at our institution and over 130 different nationalities there. We do offer around 200 programs at undergraduate level. So there's a big variety there also. Entry requirements, typically, if we're looking at A-level, we'd require an A and 2 Bs, but we accept a wide range of qualifications across the board, and you can find out information about those on each of our country pages. We do charge £16,000 per year for tuition. However, scholarships are available. We have our global scholarship, which you can check out on our website too. Okie dokie. So I'm going to pass over to my next colleague. I'm going to pass over to Diane to speak about Kent.
Okay, thanks very much, Ian. So my name's Diane from the University of Kent. We are based mainly in the city of Canterbury. We do have 2 campuses in the UK, but our main one is in Canterbury, which is down in the southeast corner of the UK, about 50 minutes from London by train. You can see here in the bottom left-hand photo, this is the campus. So we're a campus university. It's very green, surrounded by lovely parkland, and everything is here on one campus. All your tuition, accommodation, socialising, sports facilities, it's all in one place. And about 20 minutes from the centre of Canterbury, this is Canterbury Cathedral, which is where your graduation ceremony would be. Very beautiful medieval city. We offer a wide range of programmes covering lots and lots of different subjects, and with most of us here, all of us here, we accept students from all sorts of different curricula. So it doesn't really matter if you're studying A-levels, IB, American curriculum, Indian curriculum, it doesn't matter. We will consider your application and your qualifications. We do have some scholarships based on academic excellence, and we have things like lots of work placement and study abroad opportunities. We have our own international foundation programme should you need it, and there's loads of different clubs and societies for you to join when you're with us, and plenty of accommodation for our students on campus. Okay, I shall now finish, and we'll move on to the next university, which is Nottingham Trent University. Now, normally Hamza would be with us, but unfortunately he can't be here today. I'm actually an alumni of Nottingham Trent University, so I know Nottingham quite well. There are lots of different subjects that you can do at Nottingham. Some of them are here, many of them are ranked quite highly in the UK. Fees generally from 15,500 up to just over 16,000. And again, Nottingham Trent has a range of scholarships. Again, here are the entry requirements for Nottingham Trent, and I know that they will take students from lots of different curricula. They are based obviously in the city of Nottingham, which is in type of the Midlands, in the centre of the UK. So I shall now pass on to, I believe, Matthew.
Thanks so much, Diane, and good evening, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks for taking the time to listen to our presentation. Yeah, just a little bit about Liverpool John Moores University. We're based in the city of Liverpool. For those of you who don't know where that is near to Manchester, and we are in the northwest of the UK, about 2 hours from London. We've got about 25,000 students, but a strong reputation, particularly in the areas of sports science, engineering, architecture, pharmacy, art and forensics. As you can see on the screen, our tuition fees for something like a business course, accounting and finance maybe, would be £16,100. If you were looking at science, so engineering or pharmacy, the fee is £16,600. And for all of those courses, you would receive, as an international student, you would receive a £3,000 scholarship each year, and that's automatic for students who are joining us from the Middle East and North Africa. If you have any questions, you want to get in contact with me offline, outside of this meeting, by all means, drop me a WhatsApp or an email. You can see my details on the screen. As colleagues have said, you can always watch this again later and grab the details as well. It's all available on the StriveScan link that you used to sign up for this session. So do ask us some questions. I'm going to hand back, I think, now to Emma and Ian. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much, Matthew. So now that we've heard from each of the UK institutions, what we wanted to do is just to pop on screen briefly there some of our contact details. So if you are thinking that you might have questions. If you're watching this as a recording, for example, and you're unable to ask a question to us right now live and direct, you can of course reach out to us via our contact details, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions that you have in relation to applying to a UK university and the processes that we go through. What I also want to do is to shamelessly plug our next session as well, which is going to be taking place on the 1st of December. It's going to be the culmination of the first part of a series of events that are happening this academic year with our universities. So on the 1st of December, we're going to be running a session called Meet Our International Students. And what this is going to be is an opportunity for you to speak to some of our current students, our alumni, ask them questions about their experiences of our universities and their experiences of life in the UK, and pretty much everything in between. So whatever it is that you can think of, reach out during that session, ask those questions, hear from our students firsthand, and that should give you some inspiration and insight into studying in the UK. What we're going to do now is to move on to questions, and I'm going to hand over to Emma, who is going to facilitate the asking of questions today. So without further ado, I'm going to pop myself on mute and hand over to Emma. Emma.
Okay. All right, thanks, Ian. So one question that's come up is about personal statements, and kind of how would you go about writing a personal statement? What should we include in that? And Diane, would you be able to answer that question, please?
Sure. So personal statement is, obviously quite an important part of the application. And basically, I think we just want to see you as a person. Why do you want to do the programme? What you can bring to the programme and what you hope to get out of the programme of study. So, there are lots of templates that you can have a look at, which will be introducing yourself and what you do, what makes you, you. And it's not just a list of, okay, I do this, I do this, I do this. It's how those experiences make you as an individual. So you could say, okay, I'm captain of the football team. Well, that's very good, but what skills does that experience give you? So you could mention things like being a team player, or being able to motivate people, or time management. So these skills. So it's not just a list of your achievements, it's how those achievements make you, you. We generally don't have interviews for a place for university, and some programs do, but for most of our students we don't interview them. So look on your personal statement as your interview. So you're trying to convince people why you should be offered a place on the programme. I could go on, but I don't want to bore everyone into submission.
Okay, so the other question that's come in is about applying to universities and how many can you apply to? Ian, I know you touched on this during the presentation, but could you give a little bit more information, please?
Yes, I can. I just needed to find the unmute button there. Okie dokie. So yes, just to go back to what we were saying, it really depends on the method that you are applying to a UK institution. So if you're applying via UCAS, there is a limit on the amount of institutions that you can apply for, and that limit is 5. There is the option for you to add an additional choice to your application a little bit into the cycle, once you've got a better idea as to some of the outcomes. I believe you can add an additional one for an additional cost. If you're applying to a UK institution directly, I mean, in theory, you can apply Well, you can apply to as many UK institutions as you like if you're applying directly. You shouldn't really be applying, and you can't apply via UCAS and then also directly. So you're going to want to pick one or other of these methods of application. You can apply to as many UK institutions as you like, but I would rather suspect that UK institutions wouldn't want you to apply for multiple courses at their own institution. So you're going to want to have a bit of a think about what course you want to apply for. When it comes to agencies, I guess you may be limited in that sense that you're only able to apply through the agency to universities that agent works with. You can, of course, still apply directly, and that's no problem, but you wouldn't be able to seek the support of an agent if they weren't representing that university. So I hope that kind of covers everything there.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've just got the one more question that's come in, and this one is about English language, which a lot of students worry about, so it's understandable. And Matthew, would you be able to tell us, please, what level should their English language be to come into a UK university?
Yeah, absolutely, Emma. So the first place to look for that is on the individual course page you're applying for. So let's say you're going to go to Northumbria, you're interested in engineering, Ian's university website will have a page for that particular course, and it should say what the English language requirements are. Typically, they're going to be something like an IELTS 6 overall or 6.5, with no less than 5.5 in each of the 4 skills. That's reading, writing, speaking and listening. But certain courses will have certain requirements. I know, for example, at our university, pharmacy is a little higher. Of course, all of our universities do accept alternatives to IELTS. That might include the TOEFL qualification, perhaps a Pearson qualification, and some others. You'll find that information on our website, but of course, if you've got any questions about whether or not the university will accept a particular English language qualification, for example, IGCSE English, that might be accepted if it was the first language program, but it might vary from uni to uni. What I would say overall is don't worry about it. First of all, if you've been studying in an English language medium school, so you've been learning at school in English for a number of years, the English exam, whichever one you have to take, you will be fine. And as we say, there will usually be an alternative to IELTS if you're concerned about access to that course in terms of being able to book a place, or if you think you've already got a course, you've already taken a test that might be applicable, just get in contact with one of us and we can help you with that. Don't worry about IELTS.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Ian, are you going to wrap up?
I am. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to our representatives for their insights today as well. We really hope that that's been a useful session for you. We hope that you're feeling inspired to apply to one of our institutions, hopefully. But of course, more information about applying to UK universities in general. If you do have any questions, please go back to the section on this. If you want to view the recording of this session, you can go back and have a look at our contact details. Again, please reach out to us with any questions that you may have. So thank you for everyone for attending today, and hopefully we'll see you at the next session. Bye-bye.
Brilliant.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.